So now we turn the page and look towards the women's 1,500 meter, an event that everyone's really excited about. As we mentioned earlier, it's been won by 5 different schools over the last 6 years. Last champion was UMass Lowell's Kaylee Richards. And for those that weren't with us a minute ago, Dan, tell us what's the difference with some of these top times in the conference not being in this race this weekend?
Well, so Kaylee Richards, the outstanding runner for UMass Lowell, who's the defending champion, has opted for the 5K. Izzy Giesing, this isn't surprising. She's the heavy favorite in the 800, 205 flat. Run your best event. And then Elizabeth Martell, who can go anywhere from the 4 to the 15, has opted for the 8. So what that means is for Emily Macay, 4:17.37. She's an indoor NCAA qualifier in the mile. 2:08 800 runner as well, so excellent leg speed. But the next quickest time coming in this heat is 4:41. Macay will qualify no problem, barring a trip. And I'm just interested to see if she chooses to lead, dares anybody to come with her, or more likely, like with what some of the men's guys did, particularly Becker in Heat 1, is to kind of just sit on the leader's shoulders, dictate the race from second almost, because everybody knows she's there, in a similar way to how Eleanor Purrier used to dominate this event in America East, and she was an NCAA champion for the UNH Wildcats in the indoor mile back in 2018. Just sit. Just relax. Open the race up with maybe even 300 to go. She certainly has the leg speed to do that, and I would think, never say never, this should be a pretty easy qualifier for Macay.
Her head coach called her the unicorn of the group, the too good to be true. Drama-free, works her tail off, and has just become an absolute leader in that program and really changed the way that this race will run this weekend and the way that her teammates train and work so hard to kind of follow her lead. This is the first heat of the women's 1,500. Sydney Coddington for Albany, Jillian Manfredi for Stony Brook, Emily Macay, who we've talked about, the junior from Binghamton. Stony Brook sophomore Rachel Ruggiero. Casey Morgan from UMBC. Shannon Lustaber from Vermont, senior Catamount. Amanda Chambers from UAlbany. And then NJIT has Kelly DiChristina and Mira Henninger again from UVM.
Well, we got another pack. And this is where you just got to be careful you don't get boxed in. You just want to make sure in this situation you're better off running extra meters and staying out of trouble than you are trying to hug the rail, because if it comes down to 200 to go and people start launching their moves and you can't get free and you're trapped, you could find yourself relying on time. And if the race is slow at the beginning like this one appears to be, maybe a little bit difficult to do. Very positive race, though, for the two Great Danes, both Chambers and the Holy Cross transfer Coddington. And, of course, just Macay just sitting. This is an identical race, identical to what Robert Becker did. Just comfortably on the outside, not breaking stride. This is so composed and so smooth for her, doing exactly what she needs to do, just running on the lane line between 1 and 2.
Macay, a 4:17 seed time, and we'll mention these seed times throughout the weekend, but important to note that things are going to change this weekend. This weekend is really, for some student athletes, the first time they've gotten to compete at full go against full competition, and especially against high-level competition, depending on where and whom they were able to compete against throughout this very abbreviated season for everybody.
And those seed times are what they've actually run this season. So it doesn't matter if you ran a 3:12 mile, which nobody's ever going to do, but just picking something outlandish in this indoor season, last outdoor season, doesn't matter. Your seed time has to be what you ran this year. It's how the seeds are divvied up, so the top 3 qualifiers are in 3 different heats. And we'll see Emily Sessa from UMass Lowell in Heat 2, who we would expect to be really, really strong as well. A 4:24 qualifier should walk into the final as well.
Sessa, a great story. We'll get to that in Heat 2 as well. This is Coddington just barely pacing the way. What do you think of the pace so far, Dan?
It's honest for everyone in the field except for Macay. I mean, this is very easy for her, and they're going to slowly ramp things up a little bit. But for the others, this is not a heat that's going to disqualify anybody from a time qualifier by any means. But I also don't think that they're really putting the other heats on notice as of yet. We'll have to see what the kick looks like down the stretch.
That's Macay, who was on the left side of your screen in green with the 3 on her chest.
There she goes.
Leader is Coddington, and there goes Macay.
Yep, 300 to go. It's exactly what we'd expect, just opening it up, and she's not really going to her arms. I mean, look at the stride there. Yeah, she's picked up her turnover, but she's not going to the extra gear. She's still so relaxed. She's just in a different class. It's going to be a battle royale, though, for the last 2 spots.
Macay way ahead of everybody. And we will see what this final pack of 4 comes down the stretch with.
And Macay's going to shut it down right here. No point to prove other than this. No medal to win today. Just get yourself into the final. Stay loose, stay calm, stay relaxed.
Right now, Ruggiero's in second. 2 Seawolves may have a go at it. Jillian Manfredi in there as well. So both of them get in. And then we'll see what the times end up shaking out as this first heat completes.
Coddington was right around 4:51, which is off her season's best. She went 4:48.85, but she's in 4th, so she's the marker for everybody else in terms of time qualifiers. That's not bad for a tactical race like that. 4:51, that could be good enough to get into the final.
See how that shakes out through heat number 1 of the women's 1500. Heat 2 is up next. A lot of familiar names in